right, ladies, gentlemen, and as always, as is required, gamers, welcome back. Welcome back to the daily 2-week series of patch notes. So we're on patch 10.15, and before we get into the notes at all, I want to give a big thank you to all of my loyal gamer fans. I have reached 100 followers on Twitch, for which I'm very happy. We are a step closer to getting affiliated on Twitch, which will then allow us to make money and then allow us to rule the world. But that's still a long ways away, but we got closer. But anyway, aside from thank yous, let me also describe something else relating now to the patch notes. So, it's no secret that when there's no pass out and I can't earn tokens, I don't play League of Legends. Now, because of that, I usually use my experience and my technical know-how of the game to describe how things are. And because I've had very little experience, I'm basically just going off what I think has happened, what I've seen has happened from other people's streams, you know, the League streamers that I watch, and just how I feel from the general consensus of the community's jokes and memes about stuff being unbalanced. Ironically enough, a lot of them are about Yon already being broken, even though we have no clue what his kit is, but that's yet to be seen. That's yet to be seen. But anyway, I know of one thing that's happening in this patch that I'm already upset about, and guess who? It's with Aphelios, another ADC. And you know when there's an ADC change, usually it's wrong, and I vent about it for like 30 straight fucking minutes. So we'll see what happens, but Aphelios is getting touched again. So anyway, let's get into the patch notes. Let me give my opinions on what the fuck is happening. So, hi, we're so happy that you're here. Yeah, they're happy because they're about to make a fuck ton of money in this new event that's coming out tomorrow. Another thing, Spirit Blossom event, this thing is blowing my expectations out of the water. The only thing they could have done is maybe added more teasers, but they actually are doing good teasers for Yon and shit. It's a shame he got fucking leaked. It's an absolute fucking tragedy he got leaked. Because this is like old school Riot I'm seeing again. They're fucking going in. They are going in right now. But anyway, to finally get into the fucking patch, right? This patch, we welcome the arrival of the Spirit Blossom Festival. Holy shit. The event I was just talking about. Then, greetings to a refreshed Swain. Okay, Nexus Blitz. Oh, let's go. I gotta talk about that too. Alright, cool. Nexus Blitz is fucking really, really fun game mode. I'm glad to see it back. I'll give my opinions on it, though. So they're changing Swain. Interesting. I think Swain's pretty weak, but we'll get into that. We've also taken another pass out of Aphelios, aka another nerf for like the fucking 7th straight time. Okay. They've made some pro-targeted adjustments. That's basically all they're going to do until mid-season and preseason. Those are like the only times they do stuff that's actually fun for the people who play this game. Everything else is basically just targeted towards the pros. So that's basically what we have to do. Oh, hikalayme. Nah, afisemetor. Anyway, my family doesn't understand I'm a gamer. Okay, so yeah, they're just changing the pro scene again. They're buffing Caitlyn. Oh my fucking god. And Gragas. Oh my fucking god. The two people I hate seeing. This is terrible. Okay. We're giving some folks a couple visual changes and audio fixes. Oh, there's a story about that. There's actually a controversy I have to talk about with that. Focusing on champions with effects that have become outdated in comparison to their peers. Udyr, basically. Oh, and one more. Nari. One more thing, we've brought more flex into flex cube by what? They did it? Yo, they finally did it this patch. They're lifting rank restrictions on flex queue. That's insane. The only other thing I think they should do on flex queue is remove the 4-man limit penalty, where you can't go in with the 4-man, but you could go in with the 3 or 5-man. It's so stupid. Now go forth. It's your time to blossom. So interestingly enough, this patch looks like it's loaded full of shit. I'm actually very excited to go through this one. There seems like a lot of stuff. None of this shit here will go through, except the skins. Let me try and like not show the buffs and nerfs because we're going to go into those. I don't want to get, like, spoiled yet. Okay. So, Lilia, I'll give my opinions on Lilia eventually. First, we're just going to go over the skins, right? Thresh got another legendary. And spoiler alert, Ahri in the next 2 weeks is going to get another fucking legendary. I'm almost positive. They didn't reveal how much it was, but I looked a little bit at the PBE preview of the Ahri skin, Spirit Blossom Ahri. It looks to be another legendary. So we have 2 characters in a row getting their second legendary skins, where people like Oren still haven't gotten a fucking skin since, like, what, 2017, 2018 when he came out? That's insane. That's insane that people who have legendaries are getting more. I think Riot has their head up their asses with that. But aside from the decision aspect of who to give it to, I actually think the Spirit Blossom skins in general are some of the best skins in this game. They said they wanted to explore new thematic skin lines, and I think they hit the nail on the fucking head. And in fact, they're doing something I even appreciate even more. Not only did they said, oh yeah, well, not only did they put a lot of effort into this skin line, and it shows, I think these skins are amazing. They said, oh, please give us feedback so we know how to improve the skin line. So this skin line is probably going to hopefully become a staple, because they're really fucking good. And they're asking for, feedback. But anyway, let me go through the skins. Spirit Blossom Thresh, even though it's the second legendary he has, I think it's pretty good. Honestly, I think it's tied, if not better, than Darkstar in popularity, because I think the gimmick for this skin, where you can change into, like, a human demon form, and fucking Thresh is actually hot in this skin. It's tying it with Darkstar. Darkstar, obviously, you change, like, a little bit of color when you collect, like, a certain amount of souls, but that's not as big as a transformation as this Thresh skin. Honestly, the only thing that would tie Darkstar is the effects and then the quotes. The quotes get me hard in Darkstar. I love that whole skin line's quotes, but just looking at it, like, for visuals, I think, like, Spirit Blossom is tied with it, which is very rare to happen, but it's tied with the other legendary. I think these 2 legendaries, either one you get, is pretty good. This one's probably a little bit better because it's newer. But anyway. Spirit Blossom Lilia, pretty okay skin. Spirit Blossom Vayne, I think, is superior for her as a 1350. The passive effect on Spirit Blossom Vayne is one of the craziest things I've seen. It's so fucking good. And the general color schematic and everything, it's my personal favorite. It's like dark blue purplish. It's fucking amazing. Skin, great. Spirit Blossom Teemo, okay. It's definitely not a bad skin, but it's okay. Spirit Blossom Yasuo, the only thing I have to say about this skin is also fucking amazing. But the Q Tornado is a little light. It's a little skinny. And I wish they just, like, made it more visually fat with more oomph. But other than that, the Wind Wall is fucking amazing. The pink effects are amazing. The only thing I would say is sometimes, because they give chromas to so many skins, sometimes the colors overlap, but, that's bound to happen. But an amazing skin. And then we're getting Spirit Blossom Prestige Teemo, which no one gives a shit about. But anyway, good skin. So now, yeah, Lilia's down there. Okay, I'm going to talk about Lilia soon. Dude, this thing's going to end up being a fucking hour or something. This is going to go long. But, what are they saying? Oh, yeah, here we go. So they're changing Flexed, right? With the introduction of Clash and its unrestricted rank system for full teams of 5, we've decided to apply the same approach to ranked Flex. I think this is a great fucking idea. So basically what it says, right, is that no matter what rank you are... Okay, previously, how the rank system worked was you can only rank with someone near your rank. So if I'm gold, I can rank with silvers or platinums. I cannot rank with bronzes or diamonds. I can't play with them. They're too far apart. There was a restriction. They're basically taking that restriction off, and the way they're balancing it is they're averaging it to the highest Eload player on the team. So if I go in, right, and I bring fucking Iron Lord Hunter Leon with me, the people we get will be platinum diamond level people, which are my people, even though we have an iron tiered player like Hunter. It won't account for him, it'll account for the highest, skill level there, which is me. And that basically ends up being like a harder battle for you if you want to play with friends that are worse than you, or if you want to play with friends that are better than you. But it still takes away the restriction, which I think is amazing, and they balanced it in the right way to where you might have a completely unenjoyable time doing it, but you could still do it, which I think is one of the biggest things. League should be able to be played with friends, and there should be no restrictions with that, which is good. It's great what they're doing. People will figure out quickly, though, it's not going to be that fun, but at least you could do it. Okay, Lilia, what do I have to say about this champion? So, for those of you who don't know, which I don't know how the fuck you don't, but Lilia is basically the new AP jungle. Now, this is what she's advertised as. She's advertised as basically the AP better Hecarim without engage. So, she's like a little fucking horse girl. Her lore, I know her lore, it's pretty interesting actually. She might be the reason Yon is still alive actually, because of Yasuo and whatnot. And Ivern's involved in her lore too. But anyway, TLDR for her lore, she's the dream of a fucking spiritual tree in Ionia. And the tree is actually the same tree Ivern chopped down that made him into a tree man. So, that's pretty cool. But going into her kit, right, I initially thought her passive did a lot more than it actually does, which I thought like she was fucking broken, but she kind of is. We'll get into it. So, her passive, for those of you who don't know, it's a shame I'm not showing it on screen. You know, let me fix that. Hold on. Let's get some visual aids up in this bitch. So, here we go. Let me show you my Chrome. Bang. There's my Chrome. So, you know, here's Lilia. She's pretty, I would say, sexified. You know, there's definitely pictures of her. I've seen them. And look, we got a little deer ass right there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. But anyway, her passive, right? Any ability you use on an enemy that hits applies a dot, dealing max health damage over 3 seconds. I thought it said dealing 5% max health every second for 3 seconds. So I was like, wow, you hit an ability and you get a free 15% max health damage dot. But no, it's 5% over 3 seconds, which is still pretty good, but it's not what I thought. But this pairs really well with Liandry's. Anyway, because of this, her scalings are pretty decent. We'll go into those. But because of this passive, right, and because of how her whole kit generally is, she's advertised, in my eyes, as a full AP mage jungler. Now, as we often know, that's not always what happens. Riot might advertise something like Orianna, which was supposed to be a support, but in reality, people just play her mid, because she's a mid laner. Hey, shut up, Spotify. Okay, cool. So, we'll wait till that ad's over. But, yeah. She's advertised as a full AP jungler. I don't know if she'll end up being one. I want her to be one, but she might be like hybrid tank AP jungler, just because of how much dot and max health she does. Now, anyway, her Q, she basically spins around, has a Darius type Q. At the edge, you do true damage, right? The damage on this is pretty good. The main reason, though, that this is so, like, I think this is the best part of her kit, aside from her passive and ulti, but we'll get into that. This gives you a shit ton of stacking movement speed. It makes you so fucking fast. And aside from dealing true damage, the cooldown on this thing is insanely fucking low. So not only are you going to be a mobile prancing little bitch, you're also going to be, like, doing a lot of consistent fucking dot damage with the passive and this. It's insane. It's really fucking good. Now, this is more like lightly dusting your enemy. Like, you'll lightly slap him over the fucking head with this over and over again. And then her W is basically like her fucking kill move. Her W has like a sweet spot. It's basically she jumps up, she hits you. The sweet spot in the middle does like fucking nuke damage. It's insane. I think it does like what? 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so that's 100. It does triple the fucking damage if you hit them in the middle. Now, it's really hard to hit, but it sets up well with the ulti. This thing does fucking nuke damage, though. It's insane. The E, she throws a little ball that has global range. If it hits you, it explodes in a little radius and damages you and slows you. The slow is actually extremely fucking good because it lasts for 3 seconds. And it's global range, technically. It'll just stop at the first terrain hit or first enemy hit. But that's pretty good. This is a pretty good setup tool. But if you miss this, you basically fucked up the gank. But people are also playing her mid, so we'll see how that works. Anyway, we got the music back now. So, finally her ulti. If you mark anyone with your passive, you can put the flower on them, which is, the passive. You could activate it after, after 1.5 seconds, they fall asleep. Basically Zoe sleep, and then if you hit them while they're sleeping, they take extra damage when they wake up. They take break damage. If she gets a 5-man ulti in teamfights, that's super fucking insane. The problem is she has to kind of go in, and that's why you kind of might build her, tanky mage. Because if you go in and you're full mage, unless you hit them with a godlike E, which is very hard to do, you're going to have to go in, hit them with your Q, prance around, activate the ulti, and then kill one person with your W. Like, just nuke them with your W. But generally, I think she's pretty fun. She looks fun. She doesn't look broken. She might be a little on the stronger side, but I doubt it. She could either be decently strong or pretty fucking weak. If you get behind on this champion, you're basically fucking useless, though. That's basically what this champion is. If you fall behind, you offer next to nothing on your team, because the cooldown on the ulti is actually a pretty decently long cooldown. But she looks fun as fuck, and she doesn't look like a burst mage aside from her W. She looks like a damage over time mage that just keeps like poking you in and out with the movement speed from the Q, and just, you keep applying Q. She looks really fun though. I mean, I'm very excited. Super fucking excited for her. I think she's a great addition, and I actually want to play her and see how she is. She's actually one of the few champions I was like, wow, I really want to play this champion. But yeah, there's that. So finally, that's covering Lilia. I think she's cool. Her lore is okay. I think they kind of added her in just to bring Yon into the game and bring a fun AP jungler. So, but we'll see what she ends up being. Okay. Oh god, here's the fucking big thing just right in our fucking faces from the get-go. Aphelios. It's been 20 minutes and I've barely scratched the surface of this patch. What the fuck are these missions? A door has opened. Who gives a fuck about this shit? Okay, so Aphelios, right? What do I think of him in his current state? I think he's okay. I mean, obviously he's not bad. The main thing is, right, his autos fucking annihilate people. His flamethrower, chakram, sniper, and pistol are they're all good weapons. The problem is, you don't need to think on Aphelios. Anything you get is good. And it's kind of proven what I'm saying, because have they nerfed the gravity gun? No. Because I would argue the gravity gun is literally there for utility. I mean, obviously it does damage because you're an AD, you auto, but like, aside from the utility it gives, it's the most balanced thing in his kit, honestly. I mean, it slows if you auto, yeah, it gives you like a fucking, like glacial slow, basically. That's refreshable. I forgot the item. Frozen Mallet. It basically gives you a Frozen Mallet slow for free. And a root. But it's like, everything else in his kit is just so fucking good. Like, the flamethrower is probably the most insane. After that is the chakram, and then after that is the pistol. Now, honestly, if you keep nerfing him, they can't touch his auto damage. Because, like, if you touch his auto damage, his abilities, of which he basically has just two, the ulti and the Q, are pretty lackluster. They gutted the ulti. I don't think the ulti is the problem anymore. It's pretty tamed for what it is now. It's an ultimate fucking ability too, and it's like, it's not only hard to hit, but it doesn't even do a lot of damage. You have to really just like use it in niche situations, unless they're grouped up and you use flamethrower, but still. The ulti's fine. It's in a fine spot. He has no E. The W is the gun switch, so then it just goes to the Q. His Q abilities honestly do not do that much damage. They're more to set up you doing damage if you hit them, right? So the sniper, you have to land it, and even then it doesn't do a lot of damage. The pistol, it gives you move speed, and yeah, you do a lot of damage if you have chakram. The fucking flamethrower, it's just a way to like proc another gun, basically. Like his Q ability isn't that crazy for what it is. It's very tamed. I think honestly Aphelios is very tamed. His main strength is just how much damage his autos do, and just how much stats he gets from his passive, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know what else they could fucking do to him that would, like, really fix him without making him bad. But let's see what happens. Let's see what they're fucking doing. The Q sentry activation radius decreased. Wow, that's huge. Sentry activation time increased. That's also huge. Q Runan's Bolt pass-through effect removed. What? Infernum critical AoE splash missile count decreased. Okay, so they nerfed his crit with the Infernum, which was a little ridiculous. Infernum's Runan's AoE splash missile count decreased. Okay, so they're really nerfing his teamfight potential a little bit. I mean, Infernum was probably the best gun. Let's be realistic here. Infernum critical Runan's AoE splash missile count reduced. Okay, yeah. Okay, so they're just nerfing fucking Flamethrower. So how much is it by? His Lunar Sentry's now proc mana flow. Oh, wow. That's probably the first and only buff we'll see for a while. Okay, so his Q. Instead of 575 range, it now has 500. That is an insanely huge fucking nerf. So, like, the main thing with the Q, right? You could put it on yourself, and with 90% of the ADs and their range being 550, you could, like... Let me fucking lower this music down. This shit's too loud. You could, like, in essence, outbox them and be safe because they would have to go into the range of your turret to hit you, and they can't even hit you. Or the turret, because, like, it's too big. Now, was that a little unfair? Yeah, I say it is, but, like, look at what you're doing to expend that. You're using 10 ammo on the Chakram, right? And even then, if you don't have a good gun with it, which is basically just 2, if you don't have Flamethrower, or the best one, which is Sniper, you're basically not really using it. It's not worth it. And it goes super quick, and it barely does a lot of damage, honestly. You just use it for the Sniper combo. Let's be fucking realistic here. So, it now takes a little bit more to activate. I think the biggest nerf... Fuck the activation time. The activation time could stay in there. Like, that's fine. The problem I have is they nerf the fucking range. That's a huge-ass hit. For his laning, probably not for his team fight. The biggest nerf to his team fight is the activation range, because someone hops on you, you want to put the turret down, it takes time to activate, then you start stacking chakrams with the sniper combo. But in lane, I think this fucking hurts Aphelios a lot. Like, an AD can basically take out the sentry without it ever hitting them. And I feel like this low-key becomes kind of useless whenever you're versing an AD now, because the AD can almost, unless you're Lucian, you can just never get hit by this, have it be a non-ability that just wastes Aphelios ammo, and you just take it out and get free gold. This is, like, so crazy. They should have made it 550 or 525. I think they should have really made it 550. This is an insanely bad change to me. It just nerfs the whole, like, ability, unless it's in a team fight. So the Infernum, right? How much are they nerfing it by? The Hurricane Bolts no longer deal damage to all enemies they pass through. Okay, that's fine. I think that was a little ridiculous, because, like, you would auto your main target, right? And then the auto traveling to the main target would hurt enemies on the way in between it. That was a little insane. And the damage wasn't anything to write home about either, so that's fine. Critical AoE Splash. 6 splash missiles to oh no, it was 8 to 6. Okay, that's not too bad actually. I thought it was a lot worse. 4 to 3 for regular Runans, that's fine. 8 to 5 for critical Runans. Yeah, that's fine too. Honestly, I could see this change being like okay, because Infernum was like I think the most ridiculous one. Not only does it let you do 110% damage, it lets you do it in a fucking cone. And if you crit, it just does so much fucking damage. This is the change I can actually agree with. It doesn't gut it, it brings it more in line. And honestly, Infernum hasn't really been like brought in line that badly yet. So this is fine. If they do anything more to this, I'll be sad, but this is fine. But now they reduce the splash AoE length by 100. That's still fine. I think enemies should be grouped up to get a lot of worth out of Infernum. Because it was a little ridiculous what Aphelios were doing with that, with the range it was giving. But anyway. His R. No longer deals damage without going on cooldown if Aphelios is killed during the cast. That's so fucking good, actually. A lot of times you would try and cast ult. You would die while in the air getting, like, fisted. And then it would go on cooldown and you never even, like, got it out. So, that's a really good bug fix. Because a lot of the time that actually happens. That happens more than you fucking think. Overall, I kind of overreacted, I would say. I thought they were going to just nerf Aphelios into the ground. Again, I think he's decently fine. Obviously, he's a stronger AD, but he's in a decent fucking spot. Riot, please leave him alone. The AD role is already, like, shit enough. You don't need to beat some of the good things we have. Give us something, man, honestly. This shit's pissing me off. But anyway, I asked them for something, and what did they give me? Something I don't fucking want. Fucking Caitlyn back in the bot lane. I hope this isn't good. Caitlyn, generally, her main issue is she falls off during the mid game, right? Early game, she's decent. Mid game, she kind of falls down. Late game, she's okay. She's not the best. The biggest thing she has going for her is her range and the amount of, like, extra damage you get from traps. Her range and her utility is pretty good. Her damage is, like, I would say in the mid to high tiers. Not highest tier, but, like, between middle and high tier is her damage. But the utility and range she has and the safety makes her, like, pickable and why people like Caitlyn. And she's a big lane bully. So what are they doing? Caitlyn has been out of the meta in pro play. Good. She's oppressive and no one likes playing against her. We expect her to be a reasonable fit with against a certain meta. Okay. So 62 to 64 AD. That's pretty okay. And then movement speed 325 to 330. These are fine. These basically do nothing, but the people who play Caitlyn will probably play her a bit more now. It definitely makes her better, especially the movement speed. That's pretty fucking good. But these aren't, like, great changes. This is whatever. I just hope... I don't think they're enough to have her go in the bot lane. I hope they're not either. Okay, Fiddlesticks. So, I think Fiddlesticks... I say the same thing every fucking patch notes video. They did really good visually. Gameplay-wise, I would say he's okay. I wish they reverted the E. The new E is fine, but I like the old E better, and I feel like it did more damage if it bounced correctly. New E's okay, though. It has more range, I guess. But, a lot of what's happening with Fiddle now is I think he's basically in similar level, if not a little bit better than original Fiddle. The only thing that's honestly better with him now is, like, his suck is more, like, consistent, and it's better clearing, and he could do the mass 5-man fear with his ulti, which is super fucking good. The buffs they gave him a couple patches ago were decent, where if he stands still, he counts as, like, unseen and he could fear you with anything. That was really fucking good for, like, high skill tier Fiddle players, but I still think he's pretty weak. But now, despite saying that, right? Despite saying Fiddle is weak, people have found a new strategy with Fiddlesticks that I never would have fucking thought of. Basically, people are bringing this sack of sticks into the fucking mid lane, into the fucking top lane. They've been playing him support since, you know, his release, but they've been bringing him everywhere but the jungle and going him tank. He's been a tank who doesn't fucking die, has AoE CC kind of with his ulti, and if not, he has a single target fear, which is pretty good. That also does percentage health, albeit, you know, missing, but, or no, that's his W. His Q does max health, I think, if you get the fear proc off already. But regardless, people have been building him tank top, and all you do is you're just a fucking annoyance CC bot. You barely do damage. I mean, the damage you do is okay. You build, like, tank hybrid. But you go into lane, you just suck off the minions, and you just push and be annoying and you don't fucking die. It's actually insane. So I'm almost positive that's what they're going to touch. They have to nerf, like, tank lane Fiddle. They're going to have to. So let's see what they're doing. W healing for minions reduced. Okay, I fucking called it. Excuse me. Tank Fiddle has been spooking opponents top lane. Yep. Outperforming other builds, aka AP Fiddle. Okay. And it's very frustrating to play against. There's almost no counterplay to it. Unless you could see him constantly, the cooldown on the W, I think, is the main problem. Nerfing the healing you get, though, from minions is another solution, though. I will give them that. So they think Jungle Fiddle's in a good spot. Realistically, he's in an okay spot. But yeah, this thing is, like, fucking insanely stupid. And Hunter actually goes it a lot. And I'm glad to see it nerfed because now people can't do this stupid, ugly strategy. So this is a good nerf. Fuck this guy. Gragas. They're basically buffing him, I think, number one, because he kind of sucks dick, but not really. I think he's actually in an okay spot. But number two, because he's not being played in pro play. And in pro play, Gragas is one of the biggest fucking playmakers, and he makes the game fun to watch. Because it's kind of like Lee Sin, right? You play Gragas to make big fucking plays, and then if you fuck it up, it's like, damn, this guy sucks. But if you do it good, you get your cock sucked and stroked. It's really good. He's basically a make it or break it sort of champion. So, again, they're probably just buffing him to get him back into pro play. Aiming to rouse this liqueur connoisseur to step into his role as an AP mage. Yeah, because people kind of just build him tanks sometimes. I feel like if you build Gragas AP, you're kind of trolling, but if they change his ratios around, maybe that won't be the case. So, what are they doing? The damage ratio on W is going up by 0.1. The explosive cast ratio is going up by 0.1. Okay, he's gonna do slightly more damage. Like I said, I still think he's being used and he's in an okay spot. It's just they want him to do more damage, so they want to incentivize people picking him more. The best way you can incentivize people picking someone, just give him more fucking damage. So that's what they're doing with Gragas. I think he's fine. These just make him a bit better. Do they make him broken? Nah, I think he's fine. Because you also have to have skill to play Gragas too. Irelia. What do I think of Irelia? Irelia kind of ran into what Kaisa ran into, what Aphelios ran into. Who else? I'm going to just say those because those are the ADs I know about, and I'm an AD main. Irelia ran into the problem of when she came out, her kit was absolutely overloaded, overtuned, and she destroyed everyone. If you look at, like, release Irelia and Irelia now, they took a lot of stuff away from her. Her ulti is basically a shell of what it used to be. It doesn't disarm. I think it barely does the same damage it used to. The slow either got nerfed or buffed, but probably nerfed in more ways than one, I'm assuming. I don't even remember. But basically, they took a lot of stuff that they gave Irelia away. And now I actually think she's pretty fucking weak. Obviously, I don't think she's bad. A lot of the champions they're touching here, I'm seeing are not bad, but they're not great. But a lot of them are like big playmaking pro play champions, which they did say they wanted to touch on like pro play, and you know the best way to do it, touch on the playmakers. So they're buffing Irelia. What are they buffing though? That's the important part. I don't think they need to buff anything but maybe the Q or ulti. I would honestly say they need to buff her ulti and maybe its damage and or utility again, because her ulti is like one of the most lackluster parts. You honestly just use ulti to get another Q stack on people. Not really for anything else. Maybe for a slow, but even then. Irelia's ulti is not like ulti level ability. What are they doing? Our Bladed Denture has been falling off in extended games at all levels of play. Damn. Cautiously strengthening her scaling and dueling potential to help bridge the gap between laning phase to mid game. Yeah, Irelia's laning is just, I think, super shit. But, what are they doing? Her bonus attack speed is going up from 8 to 16. Wait. Oh, per stack. 40, 8, 60, 80, 40, 50, 60, 40. Oh, they're just increasing her mid game. This does almost absolutely fucking nothing, I think. Yeah, I mean, this might help her a tad bit. I honestly don't think these changes are enough. They need to nerf the ulti. Or, not nerf it, excuse me. They need to buff the ulti. This character is a shell of itself. Lee Sin. I mean, what do I think of Lee Sin? He's actually used a lot in LCS, and ironically enough, I hate Lee Sin as a character, and every time I see him, he almost always proves my expectations right of he's useless and he sucks dick. So, I'm thinking he might get buffs, but if you buff Lee Sin, what would you buff about him? I mean, you have to buff his damage. He doesn't scale well. He basically just becomes a setup kick bot late. You'd have to buff his damage, I think, if you're going to buff him. So, I think they have to buff his damage. Let's see what they're doing. They're nerfing him. Wow. So, they're nerfing his W. We can't turn a blind eye to the fact that Lee Sin has been a consistent threat in Elite and Pro play. Yeah, I don't think so at all. But, they're increasing the cooldown of one of Lee's most reliable spells to curb his mobility and sustain. I honestly don't think the sustain Lee has is a problem. Yeah, it's pretty decent. But the main thing is the mobility. Lee Sin can go in and get out so consistently. and make these plays that he does. Ward hop, fucking hop to, champions, hop to, like, minions. I think the biggest nerf they could do to restrict his mobility is make it so he can only hop to champions or allies. If he can't hop to wards, that's a huge fucking Lee Sin nerf. That will smack him in his blind ass. But they're probably never going to do that unless Lee Sin becomes a major fucking issue. Unless they overbuff his damage to compensate, they're not going to fucking do that. But anyway, is this nerf warranted? Yeah, I think his mobility is a little crazy. But honestly, this doesn't really nerf Lee Sin that much. I mean, it's okay. It's a little noticeable, but, like, he's still going to be played. This does almost nothing. Oren! So Oren is another one that's been used constantly in fucking pro play. And ironically enough, he's very similar to Irelia and Kaisa and Aphelios. He was overtuned, overbuffed on release, and they took a lot of stuff away from him. The biggest thing I think that changed with Oren is his W. His W used to give him a shield, which I think his E now gives him, or maybe he doesn't get it at all. It's been a while. But his W used to be like the strongest part of his fucking kit, and now it's like really weak. And they changed his passive so you couldn't exploit it to get the health in lane, which was a big ass nerf, but apparently he's still being played. The main problem with Oren is how well he scales, right? Not only does Oren give your team a benefit of just, hey, I stat buff you, so you could stack check the enemy. If you have an Oren on your team and you get to late game, your team is just, by the numbers, arguably better than the enemy team can ever be, because Oren can buff your items. Now, I don't think they should nerf that. They kind of already did. They made it so you have to go really later on to get it. But the biggest thing I think with Oren is just how tanky he gets and how well he synergizes with the tank rune tree, right? Oren's passive is he gets an extra bonus % armor. He basically has two passives. Not only does he get free armor and MR, like a bonus, 10% I think? He can also shop anywhere on the map. That's two fucking passives, basically. I don't know why he has an overloaded passive. Now, on top of that, if you take the tank tree, which on Oren you're obviously going to fucking do, you can also get a further increased MR and armor value after, I think, 12 minutes. So, you get so tanky for no reason on Oren for free. Basically for free. You're an extremely well-scaling tank. And I think the only viable way to nerf him is to nerf his passive or nerf the tank tree. And they can't nerf the tank tree because that involves other champions. They need to nerf how much passive armor and MR gain he gets. Maybe from 10% to like 7%, or if they really want to be Riot Games, 5%. Nerf it by fucking half. Don't take it away. Don't make it useless. I would say 7% is like the sweet spot. But I think that's the fucking issue. Because as it stands, I think he gets 20% bonus armor and MR for literally doing nothing but existing. And it's insane. But what are they doing? They're lowering his armor from 36 to 33. This does absolutely nothing but make him like a little bit more squishy early. And I'm not going to lie, Oren is actually pretty decent early if you get a good matchup and know what you're doing. Just because of the fucking brittle proc, but even then. Hopefully this just makes him play more carefully, but this doesn't solve any fucking issue. The issue is how well he scales into mid and late, and this does nothing but hurt his early. So this has no fucking, like, relevance, I think. Rakan. What do I think of Rakan? He's a support who, again, the common theme was great on release, got a lot of stuff taken away from him. Rakan's main thing is, right, he can engage, go in, and get back out. He could go in, set stuff up really easily, and get back out, and then try and do it again. So, what did they nerf on him? They nerfed his engage. The only thing he had. Then he was kind of ass, so what did they do? They buffed his utility a little bit, the shielding, the healing, and then they had to buff his engage again, because that's what the character is meant to be. Now, I still don't think Rakan is good, so I'm pretty sure they're going to buff him again, but I honestly don't know what they could buff about him, because I doubt they'll ever give him back the speed on his main engage tool, the W. I doubt they'll ever give that back, but I'm hopeful. Let's see what they do. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a buff. Passive cooldown decreased later and now scales per level, capping at level 18. Okay, so they're increasing his utility, like I said. They're never going to give Rakan back his engage, because he was one of the best engagers, if not the best in the game, at his peak. It was insane what Rakan could do. He could go in super fast, get all of you CC'd, and then get the fuck out. It was insanely good. And there was basically no counterplay unless you had flash or godlike reflexes. Now it's a lot more fair, but it's a lot harder for what you expect from Rakan now. Like, Rakan could easily set up team fights. Now it's a little harder, but they don't want to buff that, so they're only going to buff his utility now. Like, every other part of his kit aside from the engage. So, will this make a difference? Let's see how big of a change it is. So the cooldown is 40 seconds early to 16 late. And now it's 40 to 14.5, reduced by 1.5 for the level, capping at 18. This does absolutely fucking nothing. Useless ass change. The 1.5 seconds isn't gonna fucking matter. It really isn't. Unless you go to a Baron fight and you pussy out. The shield amount isn't even that crazy either. I mean, it's something, but to have it come up 1.5 seconds sooner, it doesn't matter. So, moving on to Shen. The person whose dad hates him. What do I think of Shen? I think Shen is actually really fucking good. I've been seeing Shen a lot recently in LCS and stuff. It seems Shen is like a popular pick. Now, I don't think he's strong per se, but I think he fills a niche, right? If you're against someone who could be lane bullied by Shen, you lose the matchup. Shen is pretty good in that respect. And Shen is one of the best split pushers in the game because of his ulti. He's basically like the tank TF, honestly. God, I'm talking so much my throat is drying out. How long have we been going for? I'm kind of scared to look. Holy shit, 41 minutes. I knew this was going to be a long one. Thank you, Vishal. I'm drinking some water. So anyway, yeah, Shen is like the better TF, right? He could split push, and then if your team needs you, you ult on someone who's getting fucked, and he basically saves them because of how Shen works. The Shen shield is pretty fucking good. The only thing that stops him is CC or death. And even then, it's pretty hard to do that sometimes. So I think Shen's niche is really good. The only problem is, if you go against someone in top lane who has CC, or can basically outrange you and kite you, Shen is in a really hard matchup. Like, what do I think? Kennen is super hard to go against. Obviously Vayne, but they don't play that in top lane. Quinn, I mean, I'm trying to think of pro picks, but in general, Shen has been in a really decent spot, but not against everything. I feel like he's a very fair and balanced champion. Where, oh, that's you, Jesse. Fuck. I saw like a mod in chat. I thought you were Vishal. Usually, like, he's the only mod in here. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. Sorry about that, Jesse. Yeah, but anyway, to wrap up the thing about Shen, I think he, fuck you, Jesse. I think he, if anything, I could see nerfs or buffs. It could work either way. I think he's very niche, though, so I don't know what they're going to do. Fuck Jesse, man. Fuck you. You cocksucker. Anyway, what are they doing? They're increasing his shield value. How much are they increasing it by? This doesn't fucking matter at all. Okay, I went through all that for nothing. They're increasing little ass values. This does nothing. Okay, Skarner. I actually heard these changes were pretty fucking big. So, Skarner runs into this problem like every fucking year, I feel like. Every year, they either over-buff the fuck out of Skarner and he's super fucking good, and then they have to nerf him, and then he's not played forever until they over-buff him again. That's honestly what it is with Skarner. He shares a lot of properties with Ryze in that sense. When Ryze is good, he's good and he's used. When Skarner is good, it's noticeable. When Skarner's bad, you basically forget he's a fucking champion in this game. You like, just forget about him, honestly. So, I'm assuming with how much I can already just see with red text here, it's obvious he's not getting nerfed because no one fucking plays him. So I'm assuming this is the patch that Skarner might become good again. Let's see. So the Q damage ratio and bonus damage now scales up with the target's max health. That's a huge buff. The buff duration increased, cost increased, and now flat. That means nothing. So what are they doing? The damage is going from 15% flat of your total attack damage plus the target's max health. That honestly makes him super good against like tanks and stuff. And now you actually might not need to build damage on Skarner because a lot of it is just front loaded into your kit. Before, it did 45% of your total attack damage, which meant you needed to actually build some attack damage. But now, you could get away with building less and still doing equal, if not more damage because of the max health scaling. That's insanely good. The bonus damage now also scales off max health. Great. And then the duration is 5 seconds. That's insanely good. And the cost is 15, which basically is fine. That's fine. And then the E. Missile no longer loses travel speed after hitting an enemy. That's insane! Holy shit. Wait, these Skarner buffs are actually crazy. I expect him to at least get play from this. At the very least get play from this. If he's not used, I'll be super fucking surprised. Like, now he actually does a lot of damage, and you can just build straight tank on him. And the E got a huge buff, too. That's insane. That's fucking crazy. Swain. Oh my fucking god. Dude, what is this essay? Okay, what do I think of Swain? I think Swain is a pile of fucking garbage. The old Swain... Jesse, please don't say that. I know that's usually what it means, but let's hope it's not a nerf. Because I think Swain has been a pile of fucking doo-doo trash. Now, I think, honestly speaking, pre-rework Swain was better than post-rework Swain. It was more fun. I got more enjoyment out of it. And it was just better. It was just so fucking cool. I was basically Birdman. Bird up. So, this new Swain basically has to charge up and sit in the ulti. And even then, the return isn't even that great. And then his laning is super hard to do because he's so low range. And to actually execute his combo correctly, it's super fucking hard. So that's why people just go him into the support role. He has decent CC, gains decent health, and does decent damage, but not enough to warrant being a mid laner. I feel like support role you could go if you're almost a mid laner, but not. And even then, I don't think Swain is a fucking support, but people decide to go him there anyway. I hope to dear God we see Swain buffs. I can't imagine they would nerf him. I really cannot. If they nerf him, I'll actually be fucking surprised, but we should see some massive fucking buffs here, because Swain has been like a joke recently. What are they doing? Base move speed decreased. Interesting. Passive cooldown decreased and now scales with cooldown reduction. So it might be better later. No longer restores mana. Okay, that sucks ass. Fixed the bug where Swain could pull enemies launched by blast cones. Okay, that's a pretty big bug. Q cooldown decreased. Okay, that's good. Bolt angle decreased. Okay, so it's pretty easy to land the shotgun. Now passes through enemies. That's insane. W range increased. That's whatever. That's basically for vision. Damage decreased. Okay, that's ass. Cost decreased later. That doesn't matter. E cooldown decreased. That's pretty good. Cost decreased and now flat. That's really good. They're performing fine in average play. That's a lie. They do worse the further up the ladder you climb. Yeah, because then people realize he sucks dick. Most notably, we're significantly increasing his W range. His W does not matter. It will never hit unless they're rooted or CC'd, and even then, they lowered the fucking damage. This change makes absolutely no sense. The W is the part we all hate about his kit. We hate using the W. The W sucks dick on Swain. We don't like this. Why is Riot doing this? What are they saying? We think this change will be particularly transformative for skilled Swain players. Yes, I can now double the range of my W to not hit you. Yes, thank you, Riot. And if I do hit you, it does less. Fuck you, man. What the hell? Yeah, what do they say here? We're bumping down the cooldown of his Q to help fulfill his battle mage fantasy. Okay, that's actually true. I say the W change is the stupidest thing here, but everything else is pretty decent. As for the nerfs, to balance out the buffs, which I don't even think are that great besides the Q, but they're not even increasing the range. He still has, like, fucking... Yeah, it rewards picks. How does it reward picks? if Swain isn't the one making the pick, that means he's not near the team to help anyway, and they decrease the damage of the W. So it rewards a pick that you'll basically like spit in their direction with the W. It doesn't make sense. I'll get more into it when I get to see how bad it is, but let's see. Okay, we also removed his mana restore and move speed. Wow. So basically they're making more impactful for you to not spam, which is what Swain is supposed to do, which is interesting. This definitely hurts his early game. It rewards picks from vision? Yeah, but even then, it's like, I don't know. Is that worth an ability? It's like, Swain's old kit, every ability had an actual good use and did damage. The root was great. The fucking little Raven Beatrice actually did like a lot of damage amplification and straight damage. And then the other dot thing you put on them, insane damage. Old Swain's abilities just felt better. This new Swain, his W feels like a gimmick, and they're just really trying to push the gimmick, and it sucks. Anyway. Yeah, so they're hoping it can, like, do better in higher elos and do worse in low elos, which is ironic. Okay, so, yeah, base move speed, that's a huge-ass nerf. It should have been 330, not 335 to 325. That's insane. Passive. It's now up every 10 seconds, so... And scales with cooldown reduction, which is super fucking good. It doesn't restore mana. Ugh, that's disgustingly bad. And they did the bug fix. That's fine, I guess. The cooldown of the Q. 3 seconds, that's insane. Yeah, the Q is going to be a fucking machine gun late game. I think this is the biggest buff. The bolt angle is 8 degrees. I really don't know what that means, but I'm assuming you could do the shotgun better. And now the Death Hand bolts now pass through champions. So theoretically, his team fight is a lot better because now he can hit every champion in his range. Albeit it's a small range, but like it's still like he's basically just a shotgun champ. You get a lot of health, you go in, you ulti, you bring them towards you, and you shotgun all of them. So actually I feel like that thematic is pretty good and they should work towards that. Now the W. The W has insane range, but that doesn't really help. Again, aside from vision, what does it do? It does less damage. The damage is still okay, but like, it does less damage, costs less mana. But if you're at 7,500 range away, right, and you W something, unless your team is holding them down and you're trolling and you're far away from them, it's like, at that point, to be able to get a use out of this much range out of it is just... It's either you're out of position and you're trolling and you're trying to use the W to make up for it, or you're just using it for vision. At that point, it's a wasted fucking ability in my eyes. It's like stupid. But anyway, it's a buff, I guess, but it's like... I would have liked to see some thought put into something else in his fucking kit. But whatever. His E cooldown is 10 seconds. This is overall a buff. Obviously, he's not going to get as much cooldown out of it, but this really helps his early game and pick out potential. Like late game, yeah, he'll maybe have like an extra second of wait time, but overall, I would say this change is a lot better for his early. And the cost is 50. Overall, everything here is pretty fucking good. The biggest hit was the passive mana removal. I think that's going to basically kill Swain's early game until he scales up and has like decent mana or has to build mana items now. But everything else is actually really good for him. I don't understand the W change, but it is a good one nevertheless. So I would actually say this is a really fucking good change, and I hope Swain's good. The biggest change is the Q though. You could shotgun it, you could spam it, and you could hit everyone with it. It's really good. I'm very excited to see if Swain's played, because if he's good, I actually think he's pretty fun. Not as fun as old Swain, but pretty fucking good. Okay, Thresh. Thresh is getting a new skin. He's getting buffed. I don't even need to look to see he's getting buffed because he's getting a new skin. What are they doing? W cooldown increased later. I was just completely fucking wrong. Okay. That's ironic. I think this is one of the first few... Well, not first, but one of the few times in League's history where the character is getting a legendary and getting nerfed right as they get it. That's actually very interesting. Yeah, but pros are picking Thresh a lot, honestly, so that's fine, I guess. What's the cooldown looking like? 12 to 16. That's actually a pretty big fucking nerf. Increase E range? I don't know. I mean, the E range is pretty low, but if you're a good Thresh, you could do a lot of things with it. I feel like increasing the E range just makes him such a good champion. It's like he kind of becomes oppressive if his E range is too big. But I think he's fine where he's at, honestly. You have to be a good Thresh to use the E. But, yeah, this is fine. I mean, it definitely hurts him. Don't get me wrong. This is actually a nerf that matters. 12 to 16 seconds. I mean, yeah, you're obviously going to get cooldown reduction, but that's a pretty decent amount to wait. 4 extra seconds? Because remember, that thing can save someone's life. If you don't have that up, then, like, someone can fucking die. But this is a pretty decent nerf. I don't know if he needed it, though, but I guess it's okay. You really should be careful with how you use the W. You shouldn't be able to save, like, at most more than 2 people. I think 2 people being saved is like the maximum you should be able to do. Because like 12 seconds with cooldown reduction, you could probably save like maybe 2 to 3 people. But I think at most now you could probably save 2 people in a team fight if it lasts long enough. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think this is fine though. Twisted Fate. I think Twisted Fate is like kind of the... He's like the Warwick of mid lane. Like, if you want an easy, simple, fun jungler that's also useful, you go Warwick. Like, if you're not really good at jungle, Warwick's a good beginning jungle. I feel like in mid lane, TF is kind of like that. He's a good, like, intro beginner champion, but he also can be used very, very well in a pro's hands because of how much utility and, like, catch out he could bring. But honestly, he doesn't feel that strong. I feel like they have to buff him. So let's see. Twisted Fate has been able to consistently reach an intimidating state where he can balance both split pushing and global pressure in pro and elite play. Okay, so that would make me think his ulti is the problem. Okay. As a result, we're reducing his lane pressure and wave control, so that he'll have to gamble more when picking a card and a lane. So this doesn't make any sense. They don't like his global pressure and split pushing, so they're nerfing his W, not his ulti. I mean, the basic thing that helps you split push is Q and red card. So maybe their thought process is, okay, we have a TF player in top lane. Guys, we have to deal with him. Send someone up there. Oh, he red carded the wave? Okay, cool. He won't have, he won't be able to yellow card and just run away for free. But that kind of gets excluded because the cooldown for W is the same later. So, like, you're only really going to be split pushing mid to late game anyway, and by that time, you'll probably have some levels in W anyway, if not max it out already. So it's like, this only hurts his early game and doesn't solve any of the problems they said he had. This, ironically, does nothing. This does nothing to solve the issue he has, and it's just a nerf to his laning. Which isn't even a real fucking nerf, because you don't need the card up that often. This does almost absolutely fucking nothing. This is ironically bad. This is stupid. Oh my fucking god, they're touching Yumi again. Yo, how am I... It's like Yumi and I was about to say Jin. Yumi and Aphelios are just like tied to a little fence, and whenever Riot like gets angry, they just go to the fence and beat the shit out of them. It's like, yo, how many times are they gonna touch these champions? What the fuck? Oh lord. But anyway. So the passive mana restore. Value decreased, okay. Now scales of maximum mana and champion level cooldown decreased. Yumi was mushed by her E mana cost nerf, and so we're here to follow up and give her all chin scrap. Okay, so they basically over nerfed her is what they're saying. Okay. Mana restore 50 to 160, 25 to 100 plus A max mana. 8%, cooldown 28, 18 to 6. I don't even fucking know if this champion's good anymore. Honestly, I think, like... Yeah, maybe attack... I mean, no, attack speed nerf isn't really needed, because, like, on TF, if you have AP, you're not building attack speed, right? The main thing with TF is the Q and the red card can clear the wave, and unless you change the scaling of them, they clear the wave so well. And like we just said, the cooldown change here has no relevance, so you could still yellow card anyone who comes, and you could still clear the wave just fine. This literally only hurts his laning and doesn't solve the issue. It's so stupid. Attack speed nerf won't do anything, because he only needs to auto once, and then Q the wave, and then he clears the wave. The attack speed nerf has like nothing to do with it. It wouldn't hurt him in a way that matters. But anyway, back to Yumi. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this fucking champion, honestly. I don't know if she's good. I don't know if she's bad. I think she will always be good at the very end of the day because she heals for ludicrous amounts and she's so safe while doing it. And not only is it a heal, it's a heal that's also a move speed and attack speed buff. And late game, you don't necessarily run out of mana or have enough mana issues to warrant you not spamming it. She's just insane with her healing. You have to nerf her fucking healing, Riot. Come on. But even then, I think she's fine. I mean, maybe she's a little annoying, but I think she's fine. Okay. So finally, getting into the VFX updates and the drama. So basically, the guy who did this VFX update, let's see if they mention him. Is he here? Did they say who did it? Send it to the VA. We main the pass to Ziggs. Okay. Okay, so I forgot the guy's name. I think it was what the fuck was the guy's name? Let me check on PBE real quick. Or on Surrender 20. Where was it? To scroll all the way down. But in essence, to basically say what happened was there's this rioter, right? And in his spare time, I think here it is. Riot Serhayan. I think that's how you say his name. Riot Serhayan basically works on the VFX updates in his spare time, right? And he makes them look decently better. I'm gonna say I like his work, honestly. But he touched this patch Ahri and Udyr, right? And people got very upset that like he touched Udyr, even though the changes they made to Udyr look fucking nice. People are upset that Udyr didn't get a VGU. So basically, I would equate it to this situation. Let's say you're coming out of a Dunkin' Donuts. Or no, better yet, let me make the situation even better. You're coming out of a bank, and there's a homeless person outside asking you for money. The homeless person sees you going for money, sees you cash a big-ass fat check that you get. You come out, and you're like, okay, I promised to give you money when I came out, so here you go. Here's like $1. And you're like, wow, you just cashed $1,000 check and you're only giving me $1? I want $10. And you're like, yo, what the fuck? I literally gave you something that, like, you didn't really deserve out of the kindness of my heart. And, like, I'm just making something better for you. And you're going to complain about it? Yes. That's basically what people are doing. They're not giving a VGU to Udyr because, Mundo's up next. We voted on it. So this guy is going out of his way, doing what he can to make Udyr, look a little bit better and try and help the Udyr people and Ahri apparently. And people are giving him shit for I don't understand this logic. They're basically flaming the guy for helping make Udyr a little bit prettier, and they're complaining, no, why didn't you give Udyr a full VGU? Like, what the fuck? I don't know. It's fucking weird for me. You sometimes you just can't do good things for people. But, these all look really nice. Go see them on your own. I'm not showing them here. Okay. So, apparently, the support items are getting touched. I do not know why. I think they're pretty bad, because supports almost make no gold, and if your AD isn't popping off, or your team isn't really popping off, and you're setting up kills for them, you're basically getting almost no gold income, and that's very hard. I think support should get a little increase to the amount of gold they get, but not ludicrous amounts, or else we'll see supports get too much power. And they already have enough power in the bot lane early on anyway, but let's see what they're doing. They're buffing Spell Thief's item line because it's being overshadowed by Relic, apparently. Okay. They're basically just buffing the mana regen and the AP on the final item. I think this is fine. Actually, no. I don't think this is fine. Wait a minute. No. This is bad. They're buffing AP mages. They're giving them more mana regen and more AP to fuck my face in. This is horrible. This is a horrible change. I don't want this change. This is bad. Fuck. Bad. Bad change. No mages in my bot lane. Okay. So now that we're off that change. Runes. Unsealed Spellbook. Why is Unsealed Spellbook good? Because the people who don't have a rune use this. Basically. So, and apparently it's used a lot in pro and elite play. Okay. It encourages minimal interactions early game. We're reducing its power bit so it doesn't outshine other options. They're increasing the cooldown. They're increasing the... I'm going to be honest, I have no clue. I sometimes even forget this exists in the game. Because basically, what is this keystone? It lets you switch summoner spells in game. And it lets you maybe use them faster. It's like... I don't know, man. I don't like this shit. This shit fucking... I hate this shit. This rune sucks ass. It should be fucking removed. They only put it in because they took out fucking Klepto. And they're like, oh, we need to put something in Klepto's place. No, you fucking don't. Just take it out and don't put this shit in. This shit's so weird and stupid. No one uses this shit. Shit's ass. Okay. So now going back to what hopefully is the end of this, like, long-ass over-hour patch note video. We're getting Nexus Blitz back. I think Nexus Blitz was one of the best game modes Riot invented, and I'm glad to see it back. It's a shame it's not a permanent addition, but I still think it's pretty good. Honestly, they removed Twisted Treeline, they removed Crystal Scar, we still have ARAM. I think this could be added along with ARAM, and honestly, the only thing they need to do is just... They don't even need to balance this, because they have their own balancing team for ARAM. ARAM does get its own changes. And I feel like Nexus Blitz could just follow the change list of Summoner's Rift. And look, they're even doing it down here too. They're having specific buffs and nerfs for champions in this game mode. And it's very simple, like, oh, you take more damage, you do less damage. If the champion's a little insane in here... Yeah, Treeline's leaving. Or Treeline is gone. I think Treeline's been gone, but yeah, they took it out. So, they do this for ARAM too, right? If a champion is like too good or too bad in ARAM, they'll give them like a flat buff or nerf just to that character. They won't go in depth because then they'll be stepping on the toes of Summoner's Rift. But like, I feel like this, honestly, Nexus Blitz is a for fun game mode. It's super good. It's super nice. It's very chill. It's quick. And it's like, the map itself, the new map they put in looks fucking amazing. And it's like, this could honestly be just a permanent addition to League of Legends. I don't know why it's not, but it's a really fucking good game mode, and I'm really glad they're bringing it back. And it looks amazing. I keep saying it, but it really does look nice. And yeah, we see all the buffs in there. And look, here we go. ARAM balance changes. No one fucking cares. Bug fixes. Oh, I see a League Client one. Oh, wow. They fixed some League Client ones. Okay. But no one cares about these. All right, cool. Upcoming skins. We talked about those. Chromas, look at those. Really nice, really cool. And we've reached the end of the patch. Wow, that was one of the longer ones. I knew it was going to be too, but yeah. Overall, with the whole Spirit Blossom event starting, the new champion, the skins, the nerfs and buffs, taking everything here into an account, I actually think this patch did a lot more good than it did bad. It reined a lot of people in. It didn't overly nerf someone, I don't think. Yeah, the TF change was kind of useless, but aside from the TF change, the Swain W random buff, in my opinion, I don't think anything else is really bad. Like, Aphelios nerf is justified, I would say, because that flamethrower was a little ridiculous, but everything else is, like, fine, I think. Everything else is pretty good. We got some interesting Skarner and Swain changes. I hope they'll be good. Yumi, I don't even fucking know. But, you know, overall, with the event and with Nexus Blitz, I have to give this patch a higher rating than I usually give the patches. I'm going to give this patch a 7.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. This was a pretty fucking decent one. More decent than a lot of the shit we've had in a while. So, after an hour and 10 minutes, basically, I'm going to give this shit 7.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back in 2 fucking weeks to do another one of these bullshits and complain about the game again. So anyway, I'm out of here.